Hey team, it's Saul and Derek here with another tutorial workshop. Today we're going to be looking at kickboxing. I'm really excited because this is my background, martial arts. I'm really excited to teach you guys some beginners fundamentals for kickboxing. So let's get right into it. We're going to start with the stance, okay? If you don't know which stance to do, like which leg to have in front, we're just going to figure that out first, because if you don't have a stance, you don't have a chance. That's what I always say, okay? I don't know if you've ever heard that before. Good. Yeah, it's good. It's a good one because you need to make sure they have a good stance just for center of gravity. So what I'm going to get Derek to do, he's actually a beginner kickboxer. I'm going to get him to close his eyes and put his feet fairly close together. Okay, and just close his eyes. I'm going to do a quick test here where I'm just going to push him forward, and he's going to take a step forward with whichever leg he's feeling comfortable. Boom. Okay, so he stepped forward with that one. And now I'll get him to close his eyes again. I'm going to give him a little push here. Boom, just like that. Okay, so now we know that he's more comfortable with this leg stepping back, more comfortable with this leg stepping forward, and we know that he is an orthodox. I'll just give you a little bit of nomenclature, just because it's part of the boxing and kickboxing culture. So if you stand with your left foot in front, you are what's known as an orthodox fighter. I personally fight with my right leg in front, and therefore I am known as a southpaw. Okay, so now that you know, you may hear people like in the Rocky movies, for example, Rocky in number 4, something like that, switched to southpaw to mess with the other guy's game, and then he switched back to orthodox at the end of the fight, which threw them off. That's just something that you can do when you're more experienced, but for now you want a home base. So home base for Derek is going to be orthodox. My home base is southpaw. All right, so we're going to now talk about foot positioning. So I'm going to get Derek to put his feet shoulder width apart, but then put one leg in front of the other. Okay, you want to line up your front toe with your back heel, and you want to have both feet at 45 degrees. And what I want to be able to do is, like, if I had like a line on the floor, I'd want him to be able to have his front toe and back heel on the same line, both feet 45 degrees. So we are square. We're not as square as boxers, because boxers don't use their legs, right? We need to have a bit more of an open stance so that we are going to be able to throw kicks and stuff like that. All right, so the other thing, just to make it a little bit easier to move, is we want to make sure that we have weight on the balls of the feet. So I'm just going to get Derek to have his knees slightly bent, and then just keep the weight on the balls of the feet, and we're going to start moving now. Okay, so foot position is good, front toe, back heel, knees are bent, weights on the balls of his feet. Okay, now when he's moving forward, I'm going to get him to take a step with his front leg first, and then go back to neutral stance with his back leg, just like that. So what I'll get you to do, Derek, is I'll get you to move forward 3 steps, and then backwards 3 steps. So he's going to move forward, moving his front leg first, see that? And then closing the gap, 3, and then we'll move backwards now. Back leg moves first, boom, boom. And what we want to do is we want to just avoid crossing the legs, right? If he's moving to his right, he's moving his right leg first. 1, see that? And then he's just closing the gap. He's going back to neutral. And then we'll go back the other way with the left. 2, 3, and you're going to bang into the gloves there. Okay, so weight on the balls of the feet, bent knees, and just keep that in mind. If you're moving forward, you're moving your front leg, moving backwards, moving your back leg, left, right, etc., etc. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to do a drill. Once you get a little bit more comfortable with the slow motion, I'm going to move the kick pads here. Once you get used to the slow motion, I'm going to have Derek do a gallop and squat drill, okay? And this is just going to make you a little bit more comfortable moving fast. So what the gallop and squat drill is going to be, you're going to gallop forward 3 times, moving your front leg first, this way. Squat, and then you're going to come back. Squat, just like that. Okay, so he's going to just kind of gallop forward, front leg first. Boom, 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 squat. And then boom, 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 squat. Just like that, just to get him more comfortable. You can do that maybe 5 times just in a warm-up. We'll talk about shadow boxing later. Shadow boxing is a really important part of kickboxing or regular boxing. Yeah, that's something that you can do, is forward 3 times, squat, backwards 3 times, squat, just to get you comfortable on your feet, on the balls of your feet. We're also going to talk about a pivoting drill, okay? So what we can do is we can do that galloping drill. Okay, so I'm going to get Derek to move forward 3 times with the gallop. 1, 2, pause. Now that he's got the weight on his front foot, what I'm going to get him to do is keep the weight on the front foot, and then I want him to turn his right leg 90 degrees this way. boom, just like that. And now he can move forward or backwards. We're gonna go forwards though. So we'll go forward, 1, 2, 3, good. And then now what he can do is he can keep the weight on his front leg and then move his back 90 degrees, perfect. Now let's do back a couple of times, right? So back, 2, 3, and then he can pivot another 90 degrees and back, 2, 3, just like that. Okay, so we traveled kind of all over the place here, but you can come up with your own pattern, forward, backwards, forward, pivot, backwards, forward, pivot, backwards, whatever pattern you want to get going with that. Okay, so that's some footwork. That's the right stance. There's the test to make sure you find out what side you are, orthodox or southpaw, and that's going to help you maintain your center of gravity and keep you upright so that you're not going to be off balance this way. All right, so now you know whether or not you're a southpaw or an orthodox fighter. Okay, I say southpaw first because that's the best side. Just kidding. All right, I'm going to get Derek to put some gloves on now. We're going to talk about the guard. So the guard in boxing or kickboxing is what we refer to as when people say hands up. Right? Sometimes it's not as simple as hands up. There's many different types of guards, which I will touch a little bit on. I'll give you a couple examples later. But first, for beginners, I always recommend a tight guard. Okay, so we're just going to go through a couple of steps. First thing that I'm going to get Derek to do is take his stance. Okay, I'm going to get his hands up. Okay, so his hands are going to be up either at the chin or the temple. Okay, now the reason for either of these is to, like if someone's going to punch you high, you want a high guard, but this exposes your ribs a little bit, so you'd want to go down at the chin. That way you can get your ribs in front of your elbows rather, in front of your ribs. Okay, so the other thing that this does for beginners is it builds good habits, right? So right now he's got tight elbows, he's got his hands at his chin and keeping the chin down as well. That's something else that you can do to kind of lower your chin. That way the guard is a little bit higher. Okay, so tight guard is always good. Elbows in and a tight core this way. Okay, so we're going to be throwing some punches in a second, but I don't even want to throw some punches right now. All I want is to show you the form really quick. So elbows in, chin down, hands at the chin, and this is the guard that I recommend for beginner boxers. Okay, now there are, like I said, I was going to explain some different guards. Okay, when you get more experience, then you can do something called a long guard. And a long guard is when you're using your backhand to kind of like block your face this way. So I'm going to get Derek to put his right hand over his shoulder this way, so you can still see under it. And then the other hand's going to be out in front. This one's used a lot in Muay Thai because for distance control. Distance control is important, but like I said, if you give a beginner this type of guard right away, then they're kind of, the hands will drop right away. So beginners, having a good habit of having a tight guard is really important. Another guard that is very common for boxers is called the Philly shell. So this is when Derek's front arm is actually all the way down at his stomach. He's got his left shoulder forward in front of his chin to protect, and then the other hand only is up. So this is called the Philly shell because if we were to throw a jab, boom, it would be protecting his chin, and then the backhand is protecting the other side of his chin. And what this allows him to do is it just allows him a little bit more freedom of head movement and stuff like that. But mobility is not everything. Sometimes the best offense is a good defense, right? So having a nice tight guard there. All right, so that's good for the guard. Okay, so now you're ready to throw some punches. Okay, so we'll talk about punches, then we'll talk about kicks because it is kickboxing. Maybe in another session. I don't usually teach elbows and knees to beginners, but in another session we'll do that. All right, so what we're going to talk about first of all is your straights. Okay, your straights are what's referred to as your jab and your cross, more commonly known. There's a reason that they call it jab and cross and overhand and stuff like that. We'll get into that another time, but these punches are also referred to as punch number 1 and punch number 2. There's that old expression, give him the old 1-2. This is what we're going to be doing first. So I'm going to get Derek to take his kickboxing stance that we were just talking about, hands up in a nice tight guard. And like I said, we're just going to be developing good habits, so hand always coming back to the chin. Okay, so we'll start with just 3 jabs. So jabs coming from the front hand. Okay, it's also referred to as number 1, right? So if I call 1, he's throwing the front hand. 1, 1, 1. Nice. Okay, so as you can see, Derek threw the hand and then he brought it back to the chin. And what he also did was he opened his body up a little bit to put a little bit of power behind that so that it's not just his shoulder. he has a little bit of the integrity of his body behind his punch, okay? Now what we're gonna get him to do is throw a 2, okay, or a cross. It's also referred to, okay? So with the cross, watch what he's gonna do with his leg here. We might zoom in on this, boom. See that? He's gonna pivot on the ball of his foot, his heel's coming up, and that's gonna give him extra reach, because don't pivot your heel this time, try and reach here. See, he's not gonna be able to, so he's gotta pivot the hip and turn the knee just like that. I'm a really big believer in knee direction, so if you break the knee in this way, if you point the knee in, then you're gonna have better success. If you just think about turning the hips and you don't think about your knees or pivoting on your feet, then it's gonna be hard to kind of get past that plateau. All right, so we'll go 3 2s this time. Ready? 1, 2, 2, 2. Nice. Okay, now we're gonna put them together. 1 2. Give them the old 1 2. So give me the old 1 2. Ready? 1 2. 1 2. 1 2. Awesome. Another thing that Derek's doing, which we'll talk about later, breathing, right? Tightening up your core, tightening up everything. You might be getting hit as well, so not only is it going to make your fists tighten a little bit, but it's also going to help you receive punches and kicks better. All right, so that's your straights. Now we're going to talk about the hooks. So the hooks in terms of numbers are 3 and 4. And so front hand is 3, back hand is 4. Do you see a pattern going here? Front hand is odd numbers, back hand is even numbers. So I'll get him to throw a hook with his front hand, which is 3. I'm going to hold it this way. Boom, just like that, okay? So as you can see, in the straights, he kept his elbows nice and tight. In the hooks, he's going to lift his elbow up nice and high, and boom, just like that. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to make sure that you're lifting your elbow and you're using your hips. Again, breaking your front knee in is going to help you with the power. You're not going to get too much power, or you're not going to have too much success. Even if it is powerful, you're not going to have too much success by winding your arm around this way. We need to make sure that we're using our hips, so I'm going to get him to go 3 again. Just like that. See how he pivoted on his front foot? 3. Just like that. 3. Nice. Now there's 2 ways that you can throw the hook. Derek, I'll get you to show, we were talking about this the other day, is you can either throw a hook with your thumb facing you or your thumb facing up. Okay, there's 2 reasons, there's a reason for each one. Okay, so this one here with the thumb up is known as the American hook. When you throw that, it's going to be less damage initially, but it's going to wear them down a lot over time. Okay, so that's going to be the American hook. Boom, with the thumb up. It's a little bit harder to throw, but it's going to be a little bit more successful in wearing somebody down, right? The other one, you're going to be hitting right with that first knuckle on your pointer, on your index finger here. Okay, so this is going to be like, boom, a knockout hook, or something that you're really going to want to pinpoint and knock somebody out. All right, so we're going to do 1 American hook, boom, and 1, they actually call it an English hook. Boom, just like that, right? Okay. We haven't done the other hand. So that's 3. We're now going to do 4, okay? So 4 is just kind of like the cross, but a little bit less push, a little bit more twist. Okay, so kind of like the 2, the 4 is going to twist, boom, just like that. Again, boom, boom, just like that. He's got his elbow nice and high. I love it. Okay, let's change sides, and I'm going to get you to throw 1, 2, 3, 4, all in a row. You ready for this? Yep. Okay, 1, 2. Oh, sorry. Okay, well, yeah, no, listen. We'll do that. We'll do that right away. We'll go slow first, then we'll go faster. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. Okay, now we'll go fast. Just like that. I love his hip movement. Guys, hip movement is key. Again. Nice. Again. One more time. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Relax for a second, put your hands down. Okay, so straights, keep your elbow tight. Hooks, keep your elbows up. Now we're going to talk about uppercuts. So uppercut is kind of it's not really a hybrid between the hooks, but it's a keeping your elbow straight like a jab, tight like a jab, or across like a straight, but you're twisting and getting your shoulder behind that. Okay, because if you're throwing an uppercut like this, it could work, but again, you're only using the weight behind your shoulder. Okay, you're only using the strength of your shoulder. You need to, boom, twist into those uppercuts to get a little bit more strength behind them. right? Depends on the purpose of the uppercut, but we're just talking what's technically sound and energy efficient, okay? So hands are in nice and tight. So I'm gonna get you to throw, by the way, 5, 6, right? Front hand's 5, back hand's 6, okay? And we'll go 5 first. 1, just like that. See that twist? Beautiful. 2, oh yeah, it makes me happy. 3, bam, nice. Okay, we'll do the other side. Same thing, ready? 1, boom. 2, 3, beautiful. Okay, ready for all 6?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, slow first. Yeah, no problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just like that. Also, if you're gonna be practicing this with a partner at home, do you notice how he is punching his left hand to my left hand? Try not to punch straight ahead because it just teaches you to punch straight ahead. You're not gonna be punching like this, and therefore you shouldn't practice like that. You should practice punching through your target. So my face isn't here, it's boom, exactly, he's punching through my face, okay? So that's just a little tip for pad holding. All right, so we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we'll just do a couple of combos and I'll get him to move around with his feet a little bit, all right? Let's do this. Ready? So stay light on your toes and 1, 2. Nice. 1, 2. 1, 2. Elbows staying nice and tight. 1, 2. Good, he's got his hands up. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Good. 1, 2, 3. Nice. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Nice. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Sweet. Okay, this time we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 6. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 6. Jab, cross, hook, uppercut. If you've ever done a cardio kickboxing class, I almost guarantee you've done this combo before. Here we go. Go. Beautiful. Look at that shoulder movement. Ha, makes me happy. Go. Super Derek. Go. I love it. Go. Look at me in my southpaw stance. Go. Yes. Go. Yes, hands up. Go. See, building good habits here. Go. Beautiful. Awesome. So those are some drills that you guys can do. Get creative with your combos. And in one of the next segments, we're going to be talking about how you can apply this without a partner. All right? Great work. Okay, team. Now it's time to move on to the kicks because it is kickboxing after all. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the front kick, one of the kicks that you start off with in karate, which is also my background, and it's referred to in Muay Thai as the teep kick. All right, so I'm going to grab one of these pads here, and all I'm going to get Derek to do is go into his regular kickboxing stance. I'm going to get him to kick me with his front leg, so we're going to have to break one of the footwork rules, and we're going to have to bring our back leg in first, but it's only to put our weight down on that leg while we lift the other leg up. All right, so I'm gonna get him to go on the ball of both feet here, okay? Because if he kind of stays on his heel and throws the kick, then he might fall back this way. So keep the weight on the ball of on your back foot while you throw the front kick, okay? So I just want you to throw one. I'll correct you as you go. Boom, just like that. Go again, step up, kick, nice. One more, kick, awesome. So now what I'm gonna get him to do is I'm gonna get you to push your hips forward as you kick. It's gonna seem as though your body's leaning back. That's fine, but focus more on the hips coming forward. Again. Nice. 2. Nice. Don't forget about the step up. So I'll get you to start in the kick. Yeah, there we go. 1. Nice. 2. Good. Hips coming forward. 3. Hips forward. Sweet. So what you want to create there is a straight line. You want your leg to be completely extended and have your hips behind the kick this way, as Derek was demonstrating there. All right, the other thing that I want you to do is make sure that you're hitting with the ball of your foot. Because if you hit with your flat foot against their chest, there's a lot of surface area that you're hitting there and it's gonna displace the energy. We want to do a little bit of damage with this kick, so what I want you to do is hit with the ball of your foot and curl your toes back. That way, you're gonna be able to kind of send all of the energy from that kick, all of the energy that you just generated into one spot, mainly the solar plex or the nose, depending on how high you can get your leg. So we're gonna do that again and just push with the ball of your foot. Nice. Oh yeah. 2. so much harder. 3, boom, nice, just like that. Okay, now if you're having trouble kind of getting this technique, all right, all I want you to do is I want you to go near a wall, and I want you to imagine, or you could actually use a door, because that's the analogy that I'm going to use. I want you to go up to a wall, or even you can have a partner holding something, okay, and I want you to imagine that there's a door that's open only a couple inches, and all you need to do, I'm just going to hit Derek in the chest here, I'm not going to do it hard, all you need to do is just close the little crack, so you're just going to bring your knee up in, push, just like that, okay? Push. Doesn't have to be a slam, but this is just going to help you with the technique of actually pushing the ball of your foot. Okay, so we'll do that a couple of times, just soft. 1, just like that. It also trains you to bring your knee up, boom, and slow the kick down a little bit, and boom. Nice, just like that. All right, good. So that's all we had for the front kick. Now we're going to go on to the roundhouse kick. Okay, roundhouse is one of the most common kicks in the world, I think. Not all martial arts use front kicks, but roundhouse kick I think you can find in every martial art. I could be mistaken, but most martial arts that I've heard of or trained in have roundhouse in it. All right, so we're going to start by just doing a quick drill. I'm going to get Derek to put his left leg in front. We're going to be kicking with the back leg first. Front kick's easier to do with your front leg. Roundhouse kick is easier to do with your back leg. So we're going to start this way. So I'm going to get him just to bring his knee up and not throw a kick. But what I'm going to get him to do is bring his heel forward towards you guys. Here, why don't you take center stage here. So I'm just going to get him to bring his knee up, push his heel forward, and then back this way. 1, there we go. 2, weight on the ball of the foot, nice. 4, there we go, and 5, sweet. So as you can see, the difference between Derek and myself, I'm a little bit more experienced, I'm a little bit more comfortable with this. Derek is getting to about parallel with the front wall. Now that's not incorrect, but in terms of hip range of motion, the further you turn your foot, the further you're going to be able to turn your hips. This usually is an indicator, boom, if my foot's facing that way, my hips can go this far before my hips start collapsing in on themselves, therefore losing power in the kick. Okay, so what I want you to do, Derek, is I want you to try as hard as you can to go at least 45 degrees. Boom, here. Okay? Yes, sir, good. And see, he lost his balance, that's perfect. Just continue forward and then put your leg back. Boom, nice. One more time. Hey, attaboy. Okay, so now, before we actually hit the pad, we're going to we're going to actually extend the kick now. Now what I want you to think of is I want you to think of your leg as the baseball bat and your hip as the hand. So the hands come first and then the bat comes second, okay? So we're going to be hitting with the top of the foot partly and the shin partly. All right, so what I want you to do is I just want you to rotate again, but then extend your leg, push your hip forward, and then let your leg come through. Boom, oh yeah. Whew. Beautiful, go again. That's exactly what we're looking for. Jeez, this guy's a natural. He's not a beginner, he's lying to me. Boom, nice. You see what he just did there? We're gonna talk about that in a second. Okay, so I'm going to hold the pad this way now. So what he's going to do is he's going to throw 3 roundhouse kicks, and you may hear a loud noise, you may not hear a loud noise. All the loud noises is getting air, it's surface area, it's getting air under your foot, right? So if it doesn't make a loud noise, that doesn't mean that it's not thumping the person or the target that you're hitting. Okay, so do again, we'll go a couple times. 1, nice, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he's rotating that foot. You see what happened there? I don't know if you saw, we'll zoom in later, is his foot was completely facing the back because he was putting a bit more energy. That might just be something that when you're doing solo, it's hard to get your foot all the way forward because you're thinking about cranking your leg back afterwards, which is something now that we're going to talk about. If you lose your balance, it's safer to actually spin all the way through the kick than it is to try and recover. Okay, so now Derek, I want you to put as much might as you can, and then if you end up falling through, then just turn around and face me again. Just like that. Nice. Go again. Nice. Oh yeah, see that? Boom. Again. Again. Beautiful. Just like that. Okay. So turning on the ball of the foot, important. Another thing that Derek did naturally that I'm just gonna add in right now is some people will do an up kick. Now, sometimes up kicks are important because let's say Derek, I catch him with his arms up this way and I just wanna catch him under the ribs. Boom, an up kick can be useful, but mostly we don't want up, we want to put pressure down. So we want to roll the shin forward, okay? And what Derek does naturally, but I'm going to get him to focus a bit more on now, is the fact that when you're bringing your knee up, your knee is facing up. Then as your hip comes forward, your knee faces down. So try and get that in your kick as well. Okay, 1. Now, you see that? 2. Oh yeah, downward pressure, baby. 3. Beautiful. Gravity was given to us. We may as well use it. All right, so last thing that I wanted to talk about, now that you have all of the kind of tools in place, you know how to punch, you know how to kick at the basic level, you know what a guard is, you know how to move your feet. Now we're gonna talk about shadow boxing. Shadow boxing is the best exercise that you can do to be productive in your boxing techniques, because shadow boxing, for those of you who don't know what it means, is to box just in midair. Sometimes I do it in front of a mirror. Sometimes if I have like a post in front of me with a pad on it, I'll use it. I'll use it against a heavy bag. And the whole point of it is not to hit hard. The point of it is to work on your technique, work on your footwork, work on visualizing technique. So for example, if you throw a combo, boom, you can't just stand there afterwards. You got to move or else you're going to get hit, right? So boom, boom, bah, right? Move around. See, I just work on my footwork a little bit, the pivot drill, right? Move forward, gallop, and punch low, right? That's what the squat drill at the start was for, okay? We're going to watch Derek do a little bit of shadow boxing, right? I just did a little bit of shadow boxing there, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. The whole point is personal growth. Work on being creative, work on your speed, work on your balance, get to know your body a little bit better. Everybody throws kicks differently. I might be coaching Derek, but he might find that if he twists his hip a certain way, it feels a lot better to kick. That's perfect, okay? So we're just gonna let him go. Absolutely. Geez, this guy's a pro already. Like that, see? So he's just keeping in mind his techniques, right? Keeping a high guard, keeping a tight guard, I should say. Making sure that he's working on his footwork. He kept really good balance there. He kept his weight over the center line, right? He never crossed his legs there, so he did an awesome job. If you're watching this video, just nice work, man. Yes, absolutely. Okay, last thing in any martial art, this goes for any martial art, not just kickboxing, be patient. You've got to be patient with yourself, because a lot of people want to be an expert right away, and then they'll hit kind of like this area where they'll get really good really fast, and then once they learn a certain amount of techniques, they'll hit like a plateau, what seems to be a plateau, but really you just have to develop the muscle memory. So keep at it. That's what's most important is consistency, okay? And don't stop when you make a mistake. So for example, if Derek he did a great job, but if he was doing his shadow boxing and he accidentally crossed his legs, don't get frustrated and stop. Keep going. Who cares? Throw a little technique just to cover it up. Just building muscle memory. You got to get the reps in to get your body used to it, okay? And the last thing is something that my coach always says to me is the wrong decision at the right time is still the right decision, because it's better than doing nothing, right? If I stand here and Derek's throwing a punch at me and I go to slip and I slip the wrong way, boom, I may still get hit, but at least I get hit on an angle instead of taking the punch straight in the face, right? Whereas the right decision here would be to slip the opposite way of the punch, right? But if I slip the wrong way, so be it, right? The wrong decision at the right time, so not doing nothing, that's still the right decision. So just keep that in mind when you're doing all these things, and you're gonna have a successful kickboxing career. All right, let's put our feet together and bow. Thank you very much. PSP Carling, out.